Alrighty. Yeah. Here we go. Hello everyone. How are y'all doing today? It's October 1st when I'm recording this, and I'm very happy that it's finally Halloween. The entire month. The entire month of October is Halloween. It is. I don't make the rules, it's just how it be. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm living in my element, I feel like, and I'm ready. I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for it to stop being so gosh darn hot that every time I step outside, I immediately get boob sweat. It's the worst. I hate it. I hate it so much. Please stop. And the thing of it is my boobs are kind of big, so it's really just not great because I don't like wearing bras when I'm not working or out in the public because I don't like them. I prefer being a free gal. And yeah, I'm ready to not sweat my bum off all the time and to enjoy everything dying and spook. I'm ready for all the spook. It's just I'm ready for it. I crave it. I'm ready for it. So yeah, how you doing? Did you have a nice week? What are you drinking or eating? I had a cup of Honeybrush red tea. It is all gone. So, yeah, I am currently without a drink. I was going to get my purple cup of water, but I left it downstairs because I'm a silly goose. So, yeah. Uh, Anyway, moving on, I just want to do a quick thank you to everyone who has been listening to the podcast so far. I do greatly appreciate any time someone turns on my podcast and listens to an episode and listens to my honking voice as I talk at you about witchcraft and magic. So I just want to say thanks. Speaking of witchcraft and magic, what is the topic of this episode? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's types of witches. Yeah, types of witches. So this is how we're going to do this, all right? So I'm going to list off a bunch of types of witches, and then I'm going to go into certain ones, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to cover the other ones in a future episode. But for this one, I've got about like 10 or so that I'm going to be talking a little bit more about. But for the time being, that's just how we're going to do it. So, types of witches. All right, let's do the list thing. Okay, go. So, kitchen witch, hedge witch, cosmic witch, elemental witch, eclectic witch, crystal witch, divination witch, baby witch, ceremonial witch, hereditary witch, evil witch, secular witch, solitary witch, traditional witch, angel witch, dream witch, energy witch, poison path. Yeah, that's a new one. Wiccan witch, coven witch, grey witch, fairy witch, shamanic witch, and sea witch. Now, those are not every single type of witch, okay? That's just the list that I was able to compile over the past week. All right? So, that's on all of them. That's on all of them. And I just want that to be very clear. And you don't have to be any single one type or any of them. You don't have to label yourself or identify at all with any of it. But some people do like to do that. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm a green witch," or "Oh, I'm a kitchen witch," or "Oh, I'm a this, that, or the other thing." You don't have to. There's no set rule because witchcraft is a personal practice. Everyone does everything differently. No two witches are the same. Even if two people identify as, for example, a kitchen witch, they're not going to do the same and have the same practices or rituals or anything like that. That's one of the beautiful things that I love about witchcraft. It's personal, and it's going to be different because every person on this planet is different, and that is so beautiful. All right, now let's dive on in. So the first that I'm going to be talking about is Kitchen Witch, aka Hearth Witch or Cottage Witch. For this one, the magic used is often used in cooking, cleaning, or other daily chores. More often than not, the magic is more focused on protection of the home, family, creating a welcoming home, abundance, cleanliness, and happiness. Not limited to all those things, but that's just the usual running themes. Kitchen witches typically use herbs, foods, drinks, essential oils, and crystals. They can be any gender. They are also referred to as a home witch, typically grow their own herbs, and the highlight of kitchen witches is making the mundane magical. Yeah. So these aren't going to be like deep dives into every little aspect of these different types of witches. This is just an overview and stuff like that. So if you want me to do a deeper dive on these different witches that I am listing off and telling you all about, let me know. Please do. Either in I don't know, a comment on the episode, or if you go to my Facebook page, Every Which Way, leave it there and be like, hey, person, I want you to go into a deeper dive, or hey, you didn't cover this, and I want you to be more specific. Just let me know, all right? Anyway, next up, Hedge Witch, aka Green Witch or Garden Witch. This witch is all about the plants, baby. Drawn to the earth, trees, flower, and all kinds of plants. They typically do grow their own herbs and flowers, but don't often. Not every witch is going to do that. And they often utilize live plants, herbs, bark, seeds, fruit, flowers, oils, and resins in their spellwork and craft. Hedge witches enjoy being outside and may live according to the seasons. Their magic tends to lean more towards healing, spiritual growth, and divination. Now, there is a bit of a slight variation between hedge witches and green witches, as green witches focus more on the physical nature, like plants and animals, and hedge witches tend to be more spiritual and focus on the spiritual aspect of nature. But the main thing is that they interact with nature while in nature. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that clarified it. And kind of, I guess, as I don't know, a bullet point or an asterisk beneath the hedge witches is what is also known as a hedge rider. Now, what is a hedge rider? Well, they're a person, witch, who is highly psychic and have the ability to cross the hedge. And the hedge is what is referred to as the boundary between our physical world and the spirit world. Hedge riders do a thing called hedge jumping, which is journeying. Wow, that was really simple. Good job, Dana. Journeying through the veil to the other side. And they do this to communicate with spirits, and they often use astral projection, meditation, trances, and divination to do this. They sometimes use flying ornaments and entheogens to shift consciousness in order to do this, and may also be green or hedge witches, but do not have to be. And the ability to cross the hedge is what makes them a hedge rider. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that I was able to clarify and distinguish between the two for you. All right, moving on. We've got Cosmic Witch, aka Astrology Witch or Star Witch. This is a witch who works with the cosmos and celestial energies. May also include Lunar Witch under that, but that's a bit of a subtype and or a different practice entirely, depending. Astrological and zodiacal timing are a big part of spell work and mundane life. Planetary magic that's not ceremonial can fall under this umbrella, but doesn't always have to. Turn the page. These types of witches typically feel a connection to space and the stars, and they are very flexible in their method of spell work. Like they use candles, sigils, crystals, etc. Cosmic witches believe that what happens in the cosmos directly affects matters here on Earth, and a big thing are natal charts. Big, large energy natal charts for these. The magics and the spell work that cosmic witches usually perform, but again, aren't exclusive and don't always, are cleansing, grounding, and centering. And they do these via those cosmic energies. Elemental Witch is up next, and this is kind of the parent, I guess, term that includes sea witches, forest witches, storm witches, nature witches, crystal witches, earth witches, etc. Elemental witches are sometimes linked to kitchen, green, and hedge witchcraft, and this is very old. Folk healers and magicians from way back in the day understood the elements and used them and observed them in daily life, like how weather affected daily life, how the seasons and natural disasters had an impact on the day-to-day. They may work with elementals, the Fae, or the Green Man. And they may work with all of the elements or only one. They don't have to be exclusive. Doesn't always involve a knowledge of plants, herbs, and gardening. Sometimes elemental witches work with candles, bonfires, storms, etc. These witches could also believe in a fifth element, which is known as spirit, which links all of the elements together. Alright, the next one is probably one that a lot of us have heard used. I know I've certainly heard it used a lot, and that is baby witch. Aw, cute. I personally prefer witchling because I think that sounds like cuter and not nearly, I guess, kind of obnoxious. Not that I'm saying baby witches in and of themselves are, just the term, but that's only because I like witchlings better. Anyway, first and foremost, baby witch. Nothing to do with actual babies. Nothing. No baby humans, animals, no. No. It's a term that is used to refer to someone who is new to witchcraft. They are also called acolytes, amateurs, novices, or trainee witches. And not everyone acknowledges or likes this term, as they may view it as sort of degrading and not great. Typically, baby witches have undeveloped skills, and as a result of that, they may be trained either formally or semi-formally by a mentor. So this is someone who is, a clean slate, brand new, very inexperienced, doesn't really know a lot of information, have a lot of knowledge, and again, experience with the craft. So they're dipping their big toe into the water to see how it feels. Next up, we have Crystal Witch, and if you can guess what these witches do, they use crystals to heal and manifest. The crystals help tend to all sorts of ailments, physically as well as spiritually, and they use crystal energy to amplify their spell work. More often than not, crystal witches are drawn to rocks, minerals, stones, crystals, nature, and sometimes have an interest in geology. The practices of a crystal witch include, but are not limited to, Reiki, meditation, and chakra work. Crystals are used for personal growth, divination, and protection. These types of witches may also be into energy frequencies and auras. Following Crystal Witch, we have Eclectic Witch. Now, these witches have no set of rules or path. They do their witchcraft and their rituals and spell work based on what feels right to them. Excuse me, I had to burp there a little bit. Sorry, tastes like pizza. It's weird. Anyway, eclectic witches tend to experiment with any and all kinds of magic. It's a blend of beliefs and practices. It's also sometimes a term used for an uninitiated person practicing their own version of an oath-bound practice. So, like, perhaps a person who considers themselves a Wiccan witch, but they're not formally initiated or devoted into that actual craft. Sometimes they take on the moniker of eclectic witch. It is very personal, as rituals and spell work are pulled from a wide swath of beliefs, traditions, and cultures, and may be purely secular or spiritually based. It's very individualistic. Following that is ceremonial witch. Ceremonial witches usually follow a strict step-by-step ritual practice and spell work. Often their practices and rituals are kind of based off of Thelemic, Hermetic, and or Enochian magics. And ceremonial magic is often considered more the domain of magicians and sorcerers than witches, but still. The performance of the ritual itself is the powerful act, and that is how they raise the vibration and do the thing. And it's not very intuitive as a result due to that structure. So this is not often something that you can just do willy-nilly, because it does have that strict outline to do. Alright. Traditional witch, aka folk witch. These types of witches take historical approaches to their craft. Their spell works and rituals are derived from historical aspects like witchcrafts, various witch lore, old texts, local history, and historical accounts. They may do ancestral work, but that's not always the case. And they also may work with local spirits. Traditional witchcraft is often culturally based and usually incorporates folklore, deities, and practices unique to that culture. More often than not, they work with both black and white magic, as well as natural landscapes and otherworld spirits. Turn the page. Hereditary witch follows our traditional witch, and this is someone who is born into witchcraft. This is a person whose family passes down practices and rituals and spells from generation to generation. They don't automatically mean that the individual is a witch who is practicing the craft, as that individual may divert from family practices or choose not to practice at all. After all, we have to keep in mind that someone who is a witch is one who practices the witchcraft. So, alright. Up next is secular witch. These witches do not worship a deity or higher being, and their practice is more often than not devoid of religion. They use crystals, oils, herbs, and other things in rituals. Their lifestyle choices are how they do their spell work. They don't believe in energy and don't think it's present in their craft. So secular witches rely on their own power in order to carry out their manifestations and spell work. They may keep magical practices separate from their spirituality. So a secular witch is someone who doesn't have to be spiritual, but can be, but they keep that completely separate from their craft. And they typically only have interest in the magical portion of witchcraft. Next up is Wiccan Witch. Yeah, see. Earlier on, I said Wiccan Witch, and it was foreshadowing. Yeah, did you get that? Did you get that? Yeah, was it clever? No, it wasn't. Anyway, a Wiccan Witch is someone who practices one of many Wiccan traditions. Wicca is a actual recognized religion, and I want to add that not all Wiccans practice witchcraft. And vice versa, not all witches are Wiccans. Wiccan witches may either be a part of a coven or a secular or a solitary practitioner. Those who are coven members are trained and initiated into that covenant, into that belief. Solitary witches are typically more eclectic in nature, and the big large creed is do no harm with their magic. That's big large. Alrighty. Following that is shamanic witch. These are going to be more often than not herbalists and healers. Shamanic witches often use old pagan beliefs to help heal and mend. They are devoted to helping others in their community. Their magic is shared to those others in the community via rituals, remedies, and counseling. They connect to divine power through plants, dancing, and drumming as a way to alter their consciousness. Following that is the fairy witch. This is a person who works with fae entities, nature spirits, and nature. It's a blend of Celtic religions and old Irish traditions, and they garner power from their surroundings. Energy witch is someone who has a firm grasp on energy manipulation, and they don't often need to rely on physical tools. That's not saying that they don't use them or want to use them, but they just don't have the need. They use their energy and mind for spell work, or they can pull from divinity or cosmos or entities for their practice. This is also referred to as mental magic, as again, it's often something that they do from within, from their own energies and stuff. The poison path is up next, and this is a person who walks the poison path works with poisonous and or toxic plants. This is considered a branch of occult or esoteric herbalism, and the point of it is spiritual growth. The toxic plants are considered allies, and microdoses, very small, are used to create teas and salves. The main goal is to help aiding in transcending consciousness. And that, because transcending consciousness is something that will help with spiritual growth. And the very last type of witch that I'm going to be talking about today is the angel witch. This is someone who invokes, communicates, and works with, well, angels. Sometimes their spirit guides are angels, but they don't have to be. Sometimes the angel that they're working with, or angels, is just a being that the witch has a very strong and visceral experience with. This is a very high level of magic and working, and it is considered a very high level magic. They may have, but don't need to have, a natural disposition with working with angels, and it often develop deep, powerful, and meaning relationships when working with them. So there you go. That's a little bit on a couple of different types of witches and witchcraft. Again, this is just one part. I do plan on doing a future episode diving into more types of witches and witchcraft. But for now, that's all I really had time to research and go over. I'm not gonna lie. The past couple of days have been a little bit hectic for me because my partner and I we helped his folks out with a yard sale and sold some of our stuff there as well, and that was a little chaotic. and as a result, neither of us have really gotten a whole lot of sleep, and I'm just now recovering from a headache that I've had for the past 2 days. So if I seem a little weird or out of sorts, that's more than likely why. Alrighty, now let's pull from the book of topics, shall we? Just to see. And who knows? Maybe I'm not going to be into that, and I just choose something else. But for now, let's do a little shuffle, little shuffle. Alrighty, eeny, meeny, miny, you. Alright, what is this? Oh, okay. Alright. That's, wow. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I'm actually kind of excited for that. Heck yeah, man. Alrighty. I want to thank you all once more for taking time out of your day to listen to me talk at you about witchcraft, and I do greatly appreciate it. I'm not going to do a draw today, mostly because I kind of forgot the cards. Not that I don't have them here with me, but like readily accessible to me. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm just tired, and all I want to do right now is, oh no, I dropped something! All I really want to do now is just go downstairs and just make myself another cup of tea and play Genshin Impact, because I do love that game very, very much. Yeah, that's one thing you're gonna have to get used to. I'm a gamer, so you're gonna have to get used to me talking about video games on here. Anyway, I hope that you all have a great and wonderful day. If you could be so kind as to rate any of my episodes, or go back and listen, or share any of them, I would deeply and greatly appreciate that. Any little bit of growth helps tremendously. I do, again, have a Facebook page, Every Which Way. I have an email. In addition, if you want to send me an email or whatever, it's witchofthegatheringpodcast@gmail.com. And because this show used to be called Witch of the Gathering, but I liked Every Which Way better. So, yeah. And I appreciate it. Also, Witch of the Gathering on Instagram. I post pictures on there kind of, sort of frequently, I guess. I need to get better at that. But yeah, until then, I hope that you all have a marvelously magical Monday, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye, witches.